First thing you'll need to do is click the very first link in the description to access the beginner trading journal. And yes, there is an intermediate version with some extra features, but we'll be talking about that a little bit later in this video. Once you've opened up your beginner trading journal, the very first thing that you need to do is go to File and make a copy. And the reason why is because this is just a template file, so you won't actually have permission to edit any of the cells in here. That's why we have to make a copy, so that whatever the copy is, this is now officially your trading journal. So yes, there are a bunch of columns, a bunch of tabs, a bunch of numbers everywhere. And if you feel a little bit intimidated right now, don't worry and don't stress, because I will be going through everything slowly, one step at a time, and you will see that this tool really is easy peasy to use. Okay, so go to the top right-hand corner where it says starting balance, and here you can adjust it to whatever the size of your trading account is. I'm just going to leave it at 1,000, just to keep things simple for this example. Okay, let's track a practice trade. So there are some columns in this tab where they will automatically generate, and there are other columns in this tab where you will have to type in the information by hand. So the only ones that you have to type in by hand are the trade screenshot, which you can get from TradingView, and I'll show you how in a second. When did you take the trade? So the date. What coin or what market were you trading? What strategy were you using to take the trade? And what was the profit or the loss of the trade? That's it. All of the other stuff will automatically generate, and I'm going to show you how in a second. So now I have TradingView open, and in front of me I have a practice trade in Solana that I did not take, because this is just for example's sake, and I'm going to show you how to take the screenshot of the trade and also just some best practices whenever you're dealing with trade screenshots. So to take the screenshot, it's super easy. It's just the top right hand corner. Click on the camera button and then click copy link. After you've clicked it, this little thing should pop up like link to the chart image, blah, blah, blah. As soon as that pops up, you've got the link to the chart. Awesome. And you can just test it in a new tab here. So that's how the screenshot looks like. Okay, now some best practices when we're dealing with trade screenshots. So when you're taking your screenshots, ideally you want to take them after you've already closed out of the trade, not when you've just opened it. Look, I'll show you. So if I take this screenshot when I've just opened the trade, and then I'm reviewing this trade screenshot, and I'm asking the question, I wonder how I could have managed this trade better. It's really hard to answer that question when I have no idea how the price actually unfolded from the entry to the exit. In fact, when I'm looking at the screenshot, I don't even know if the trade won or lost. I'm going to have to Alt-Tab back to the journal to double check that. It's a very inefficient thing. So just take the screenshot after you've already closed out of the trade. It's going to make your life so much easier. Where is this trade? Okay, there it is. Okay, the next thing is when you're placing your risk reward tool. You want to place it such that the risk reward tool begins on the candle where you actually entered the trade, and it ends on the candle where you actually exit the trade. That way, when I'm reviewing the trade screenshot, it's super clear instantly. Where was the trade entered? Where was the trade exit? Right? Super easy to see. Because look, if I put this risk reward tool at a different place, let's say here, and then I'm reviewing this trade screenshot, it's not immediately obvious that, oh yeah, I entered the trade here and I closed out of it here. But yeah, the point is you want to have the risk reward where you entered the trade and exactly where you entered. If you don't know where to find the risk reward tool, it is, where is it? It is right here. So it's above the paintbrush. We've got the long position here and we've got the short position there. Cool. Okay, next thing. When you're taking your trade screenshots, you want to show some price action on the left-hand side before the entry. Because look at this screenshot, right? There's only an hour's worth of price action on the left-hand side, and that's not really giving me that much context as to what were the market conditions like when I took this trade. So what I mean by that is I have no idea, I will have no idea if the price action on the left was very range bound and very sideways, or if price was going in an absolute crazy trend and I was just trying to short the reversal, right? So I want to see some price action on the left-hand side. Rule of thumb, if you're trading on the 1 minute time frame, I recommend to have minimum, like absolute bare minimum of at least 4 hours of price action, but ideally 6 in your screenshot. So like something like this would be the absolute bare minimum, but ideally the more the merrier, right? The more price action you can see on the left-hand side in your screenshot, the better it will be. Okay, so show that price action on the left-hand side. Oh, and if you are trading on another time frame, let's say the 15-minute time frame, the best practice I would recommend is to have not 4 hours of price action, but 240 candles, right? So it's not the minutes or the hours that matter. It's rather how many candles are we actually looking at on the left-hand side before the entry, right? So this is 240 candles before the entry. This is a reasonable amount of price action to look at before the entry to give us some kind of idea. What was the context of this trade? But again, like if you can, just try to show as much as possible. As much as possible, but to the point where you can still see how the trade actually unfolded. Because if you zoom out like all the way like to the absolute max and you can't even see the trade, well, you won't be able to review the trade. So, but yeah, rule of thumb, 240 candles, absolute bare minimum, but just show it to the point where you can actually see how the trade played out. Okay? All right, let's actually journal this trade. So we just go to the next cell. We go up here to the top, and we're just going to paste that screenshot from before that we've copied. Next, we go into the date. So I'm just going to type in the date. What coin was I trading? Solana. What strategy was I using? So in this case, I'm just going to select mean reversion short. But what you can do is you can go here. If you click the button, go to the edit button. You can go and change the names to whatever strategy you want, and you can also add new ones. So I'll just call it new strat, and then you just click apply to all, and easy peasy, it updates for everything. So I'll just select new strat. There we go. What was the profit on the trade? I'll just type in 20. And for the notes, here's where you want to write some kind of comment or write anything about the trade. If you're not sure what to write, what I recommend is talking about what happened either before the trade, something that happened during the trade, or something that happened after the trade. So for example, in this trade, notice how from the entry, price barely went against me before going to the target. I can just talk about that. So I'll say price barely moved against me, and then it went to the TP, right? Something like that. The notes can be helpful. So in the early days, the notes won't be that helpful, but later on, they can potentially be helpful. So let's pretend that I've taken 500 trades. What I can do is I can just copy paste all of these notes into ChatGPT or any AI, and I can just ask, do you see any recurring patterns or themes within these notes? And maybe it spots some patterns, maybe it spots some recurring themes, and maybe from there it leads to some kind of insight or some kind of new idea. Now that we've got the practice trade out of the way, you are more than welcome to delete all of the other trades in here, but when you do this, it is crucial that you don't select everything and click delete, because if you do this, you're also going to remove the auto-generated formulas and the journal will basically break. So don't do that. Instead, you just want to delete everything between the trade screenshot up to the P&L in USD. So just these 5 columns. So it would look like this. And as you can see, the auto-generated columns, they'll get deleted alongside with it, and you're more than welcome to delete the notes as well. But I'm just going to leave them in here because I want to show you how the journal uses this data in the analytics and also the other stuff as well. So let's pretend that I want to get rid of trade number 14 for whatever reason. The wrong way to do this would be to select everything and click delete, because as you can see here, the formulas start to break. The correct way to do it is only select these 5. So from trade screenshot to P&L, click delete, and then that way, if I was to put something else in here, let's say, there we go. Like I'm trying to replace it with a different trade for whatever reason, because it can happen. I'll just select something random, and let's say the trade 1. It works perfectly fine. Now, let's pretend, again, for whatever reason that you accidentally broke some of the formulas. An easy way to fix it is click on the cell, go to the bottom right of the cell, click and hold it, and then drag it to the thing that was broken. So again, I can do it here. I'm selecting the auto-generated cells, click and drag.